I was bleeding badly enough to need emergency surgery. But when my wife realized her ex was the other patient, she made a choice I never thought I'd see. What would you do if the person you trusted with your life had to choose between saving you and someone from their past, and hesitated for the wrong reason? I used to think the hardest part of being married to a surgeon was learning how often the hospital would come first. Emma missed dinners, anniversaries, and whole nights beside me, but I never doubted where I stood in her heart. I was her husband. That was enough for me. For years, I had defended those absences to myself. Every canceled plan meant somebody else got another chance to live. I was proud of her for that. Even when I ate alone, I told myself love did not need constant proof. I never imagined that one day I would become the patient waiting for her to choose who mattered most to her. Then the crash happened. Metal screamed around me. Glass shattered across the road. Pain tore through my side, so hard I could barely breathe. "Stay with me," someone said above me. "I'm awake," I whispered. My wife, Emma Carter. She works at the hospital. "We know. Don't move." The ambulance lights blurred over my face. I heard another stretcher rolling nearby, another man groaning, but I could not turn my head. At the hospital, everything became white lights and rushing voices. Pressure is dropping. He's bleeding internally. We need a surgeon now. I tried to lift my hand. "Emma?" A nurse leaned close. "Dr. Carter is here." Relief hit me harder than the pain. I closed my eyes for 1 second. Then I heard her voice. "Liam?" I forced my eyes open. Emma stood beside my stretcher in scrubs, her face pale. "You came," I said. "Of course I came." Her hand touched mine. For 1 second, I felt safe. Then someone rushed toward her. "Doctor, the other trauma patient is unstable." Emma looked up. "Who?" "John Bennett." Her hand went still in mine. I knew that name. John, her ex-boyfriend. I watched her face change before she said a word. "What happened?" she asked. "Severe internal injuries. We need to move now." Another doctor spoke from beside me. "Liam needs surgery too. His bleeding is getting worse." Emma looked at me, then toward the hall. My stomach turned colder than the room. "Emma," I said, "I need 1 minute." "No," my voice came out weak. "Look at me." She did. The monitors kept beeping faster. A doctor said, "We cannot wait much longer." Emma swallowed. "John may die without immediate surgery." I stared at her. "So might I." "I know." "Then stay." Her eyes filled with something I could not understand. "I can help him." "You can help me. There are other surgeons here." I tightened my fingers around her wrist before she could step away. "Emma, you're really leaving me?" She looked down at my hand. "Liam, please." "Please what?" "Let me go." The words cut deeper than the injury. "Why him?" "This isn't about that." "Then why are you walking toward him?" "Because he may die without me." I could barely breathe. "And what happens if I die without you?" Her lips parted, but no answer came. Someone called her name from the hall. She pulled her wrist from my hand. "I have to go." "Emma." She turned. I wanted her to come back. I wanted her to tell everyone else to save John because her husband needed her. Instead, she stepped away. Then she disappeared through the doors leading toward his operating room. I lay there staring after her, unable to move. The woman I trusted with my life had just chosen another man while my blood soaked the sheets beneath me. The ceiling began to blur. "Liam, stay with us." I tried. The lights dimmed. Voices stretched farther away. Then someone shouted, "His blood pressure is crashing." I waited for Emma to come back. She didn't. Pain was the first thing I felt when I opened my eyes. Not the sharp pain from the crash. This was deeper, heavy, stitched into every breath. A monitor beeped beside me. My throat burned. I tried to move. "Don't." A woman stepped into view. I recognized Julia from the hospital. Emma had mentioned her before, always with respect. "Where am I?" I asked. "Recovery." I swallowed. "Emma?" Julia's face tightened. That answer came before her words. "You made it through surgery," she said. "Emma operated?" "No." I stared at her. Julia pulled a chair closer. Another surgeon stepped in. You were losing blood too fast. My chest felt colder. Where was Emma? Julia looked straight at me. With John. I closed my eyes. For 1 second, I wanted her to lie. I wanted some medical reason that would make everything I remembered wrong. She knew. I asked. Julia did not hesitate. Yes. How bad was I? Bad enough that we were afraid we would lose you. And she still went? Yes. I turned my face toward the window. Don't protect her from me. I'm not. Good. Julia lowered her voice. Liam, I'm not here to judge your marriage. But I was there. Emma knew your condition was critical when she left. I stared at the blanket over my legs. Did anyone try to stop her? We told her you needed immediate surgery. And she made her decision. The words landed quietly, but they crushed whatever excuse I've been trying to build for her. The door opened before I could answer. Emma walked in wearing wrinkled scrubs. Her hair was loose around her face, and exhaustion sat in her eyes. Liam! Julia stood. I'll give you privacy. Emma waited until the door closed. You're awake. I noticed. She flinched. I was terrified. I looked at her. For me? For both of you. I almost laughed, but my ribs hurt too much. She stepped closer. John was crashing. So was I. There was another surgeon available for you. There was another surgeon available for him too. Her mouth tightened. You don't understand what I saw. Then explain it. She took a breath. John had injuries I knew how to handle. I thought I could stabilize him faster. Would you have made the same choice if the patient had been anyone else? Emma froze. I watched her eyes shift away. That silence hurt more than anything she could have said. Emma, it wasn't that simple. It was simple enough when you walked away. Our history complicated it. There it is. She shook her head. No, saving John does not mean I love him. I stared at her, suddenly calm. This isn't about who you love. It's about who you were willing to leave bleeding. Her eyes filled. I never wanted you hurt. But I thought you were in capable hands. You were my wife. I was also a surgeon. And that night, which one mattered more? She stepped closer and reached for my hand. I pulled it away. Liam, please. I need rest. She stood there for a long moment before whispering. I'll be nearby. I said nothing. Eventually, she left. The room fell quiet again. Outside the window, the sky was still black, but a pale line was beginning to form near the horizon. Emma thought I was resting. I reached for my phone with shaking fingers and found James's number. He answered on the third ring. Liam, do you know what time it is? Yes. What happened? I looked toward the door Emma had closed behind her. My voice stayed steady. For the first time that night, I knew exactly what I wanted. I need you to help me end my marriage. Tell me you're not doing this because you're angry. James's voice came through my phone while gray morning light touched the hospital window. I'm angry, I said, but that isn't why. You almost died, Liam. That kind of fear can make any decision feel permanent. I closed my eyes. That accident didn't destroy my marriage. Then what did? It exposed it. James went quiet. I continued before I lost my nerve. John came back into Emma's life months ago. What do you mean, came back? Messages, calls, things she explained away. And you knew. I knew enough to notice. Did you think they were having an affair? No. The answer came fast because I would not turn suspicion into fact. I never saw proof of that. I'm not accusing her of cheating. Then what are you saying? I'm saying I trusted her. Every time something fell off, I told myself trust meant not questioning her. James sighed. What kind of things? She would get quiet when his name came up. She took calls outside twice. She told me he was going through something and needed advice. And you let it go? Yes. Why? Because she was my wife. The words tasted bitter now. James lowered his voice. Liam, ignoring warning signs is not the same as proof. I know. Then don't build this divorce on what you can't prove. I'm not. I looked toward the closed door. I'm building it on what she did in front of me. James did not answer. She knew I was bleeding. I said, she knew my condition was critical. She still chose John. That's the part you can't forgive. That's the part one can't unknow. He was silent for several seconds. Then he said, if you're sure, I'll help you. I'm sure. James talked me through the first steps. I answered questions slowly, stopping whenever pain pulled at my stitches. By the time we finished, the sky outside had turned pale gold. You can still stop this, James said. I know. And if you change your mind, I'll tell you. Do you think you will? No. A few minutes later, the door opened. Emma walked in holding a cup of coffee. She stopped when she saw my phone and the papers on the table beside me. What is that? I did not hide them. Divorce paperwork. Her face went blank. You're serious? Yes. You called a lawyer from a hospital bed? I called James. Before sunrise? I need more time. Emma set the coffee down too hard. You almost died last night. You're hurt. You're angry. I'm clear. How can you do this after one decision? I stared at her. One decision? I saved a dying man. Two men were dying, and one was her husband. Her eyes flashed. Don't turn what I did into something cruel. I don't have to turn it into anything. I did my job. You made a choice. I thought you were going to survive. You didn't know that. She looked away. My voice stayed quiet. Emma, I'm not asking whether you meant to hurt me. Then what are you asking? I'm asking why I should trust you again. She stepped closer. Let me explain. You already did. No, you're hearing the worst version because you're in pain. Then give me the better version. She opened her mouth, but I raised one hand. Just answer one thing. Her eyes locked on mine. If that night happened again, would you choose me? Emma froze. The room became painfully still. I waited 1 second, then another. Her lips parted. Nothing came out. I watched the answer form in the silence between us. She could not say yes. And somehow, that silence became my final answer. Ethan was waiting when I left the hospital. He took one look at me and shook his head. You look terrible. Good to see you too. I'm serious, Liam. Are you sure you should be leaving? I need somewhere that doesn't feel like her. Ethan understood. He helped me into the car slowly, careful of my stitches. You can stay with me as long as you need. Just for a while. And Emma, I need distance. He glanced at me. From her or from what happened? Both. The drive was quiet. Every bump pulled at my side. But the deeper pain came from remembering Emma's silence when I asked if she would choose me next time. I did not know how to forget an answer she never spoke. By the time we reached Ethan's place, my phone had several missed calls from Emma. I turned it face down. You're not answering? Ethan asked. Not yet. You still love her. That doesn't mean I can trust her. He nodded once. Fair. Later that afternoon, Julia called. How are you feeling? Like someone cut me open. That is technically what happened. Despite myself, I laughed. Then her voice changed. Emma has been asking questions. What kind? About you, your blood loss, your pressure, how long you were unstable. My chest tightened. Why now? I think she finally understands how close it was. I looked toward the window. She was there. She knew you were critical. I'm not excusing that. But knowing the words and seeing the full numbers are different. I stayed quiet. Julia continued. John survived too. I closed my eyes. Emma told me. He's been contacting her. That made me sit straighter. About what? I don't know everything, but I heard enough to know he's pushing. Later, Emma finally called again. This time I answered. Liam. What? John keeps reaching out. I don't want updates about John. I need you to understand. Then make me understand. She inhaled slowly. He says what happened that night proved something. What? That when I had to choose without thinking, I chose him. My grip tightened around the phone. And what did you say? I told him he was wrong. Was he? Silence. Emma, I don't love him. That wasn't my question. I feel responsible for him. I have history with him. Guilt. I stared at the floor. So that's what this is? Responsibility? I don't know what to call it. Try the truth. The truth is I felt something I thought was gone. My stomach tightened. What kind of something? Fear, guilt, memories. Nothing I wanted. Unresolved history? Another pause. Yes, that answer hurt, but at least it was honest. She continued, quieter now. I thought I had moved past it. But you hadn't. No, that evening. Ethan opened the door and looked back at me. Emma's here. My body went rigid. Send her in. She entered slowly. For once, she did not try to touch me. Her eyes were red. I spoke to Julia. I know. I read your numbers. I said nothing. Her voice shook. I didn't understand how close you were. You were told I was crashing. I know. Then what didn't you understand? She swallowed hard. I thought there was more time for you. The words landed like a second wound. You gambled my life on that thought. I know. No, Emma. You know now. Tears filled her eyes. I kept telling myself I made a medical decision. Did you? She looked down. I don't know anymore. Then tell me what it was. She pressed both hands together. When I saw John's name that night, something happened. What? She looked at me with a face I barely recognized. I stopped thinking like your wife. What happened when you saw him? I asked. Emma stood near the window, arms folded tight across her chest. I remembered everything. What does that mean? It means John was once the person I thought I had failed. I said nothing. She looked at me. When our relationship ended, he fell apart. I kept thinking I should have done something differently. I thought I had moved past that guilt. But you didn't. No. And seeing him injured brought it back. Yes. Her answer was quiet. Human. Understandable. Still unforgivable. So you saw him dying, I said, and suddenly you need to save the version of yourself that failed him before. Emma's eyes filled. I think so. And I became the person you could leave behind. I didn't think of it that way. That doesn't change what happened. I know. For the first time, I admitted something I hated admitting. I failed too. Emma looked surprised. For years, I thought trust meant never asking hard questions. I saw things that bothered me, and I stayed quiet because I didn't want to become suspicious. You trusted me. I trusted silence. She lowered her eyes. That wasn't fair to either of us. The admission sat between us. I kept telling myself our marriage was strong. I said, but strength without honesty is pretending. Emma shook her head. I never wanted us to become this. Neither did I. Do you think I stopped loving you? I think love stopped being enough when truth became optional. Her face tightened. I hated hurting her, but I hated lying to myself more. I should have asked questions sooner, I said, and I should have answered them before you had to ask. That was the first thing we had agreed on. Later, Isha came to see me. She knew Emma professionally and refused to soften anything. She is an excellent surgeon, Isha said. I know. That does not make every decision she makes correct. Emma says the pressure of the emergency affected her. It probably did. I studied Isha's face. But pressure does not erase personal history. Emma entered while Isha was still there. Isha turned toward her. You knew Liam was critical. Yes. You also knew John personally. Emma's jaw tightened. Yes. Then stop pretending those facts were separate. Emma stared at her. I made a medical judgment. You made a medical judgment while carrying unresolved guilt about one patient. Emma said nothing. Isha continued. That does not make you evil, but being gifted does not make you immune to bias. The room stayed silent. Emma finally whispered, I understand. After that, something changed. John kept contacting her. At first, I heard about it only because Emma told me. He thinks the divorce means we have another chance, she said. And what do you think? We don't. Have you told him? Yes. But John did not accept it. Emma began pulling away from him more each day. The more she understood what her choice had cost. the less she wanted him near her. Then one evening, she called me after speaking with him. He was angry. About what? About me refusing him. What did he say? Her voice shook. He said I used him as an excuse to destroy a marriage I already wanted to escape. I went still. Did you? No. Then why does he believe that? Emma did not answer. Hours later, she came to see me. Her eyes were swollen, and tears ran down her face before she spoke. There's something else. My stomach tightened. What? She wiped her cheek. I should have told you before. Before what? Before the accident. I stared at her. Emma took a broken breath. John had already asked me to leave you. I told him no. Emma's voice shook, but I kept my eyes on her. When John asked me to leave you, I said no. I told him I was married and that whatever happened between us was over. Then why didn't you tell me? Because I knew how it would sound. It sounds worse now. I was afraid you'd think I wanted him back. You hid it because you decided what I could handle. She flinched. That was what I meant. But that's what you did. I looked away, feeling something inside me settle. For years, I had believed our marriage rested on trust. Now I saw how much of that trust had depended on truths Emma chose not to share. You decided I didn't need to know he was back in your life. I thought I was protecting us. No, you were protecting yourself from a hard conversation. Tears filled her eyes. I know. She stepped closer. Liam, please stop the divorce. I said nothing. I'll cut John out completely. No calls. No messages. Nothing. You should have done that before. I'll do anything. For one terrible second, I wanted to believe her. I saw the woman I had loved for years. I remembered quiet mornings, tired smiles, and the life I thought we had built. Then I saw the hospital doors closing behind her while I bled. My chest tightened. I need time. Later, I called James. Do you still want the divorce? He asked. I don't know if I can forgive her. That wasn't my question. I stayed quiet. James continued. Forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same thing, Liam. You can forgive someone and still decide you cannot live with what happened. So, leaving doesn't mean I hate her? No, it means you know what you can survive twice. His words stayed with me. That evening, Ethan sat across from me. You look like you're trying to decide how much she should suffer. I'm not. Then stop measuring your choice by her pain. I frowned. What should I measure by? Your peace. I leaned back slowly. If I continue the divorce, everyone will think I'm punishing her. Then let them. I don't want revenge. Good. Don't take it. He looked at me steadily. You survived. You're healing. You can build a life that doesn't depend on whether Emma regrets losing you. That was when I understood. I did not need to destroy Emma. I did not need John to suffer. I only needed my life back. The choice felt different after that. I was not signing papers to hurt her. I was choosing a boundary I should have understood sooner. Love could explain why leaving was painful, but it could not make trust return. I could wish Emma well, and still refuse to rebuild the same marriage. I could remember every good year without pretending one night meant nothing. Most of all, I could stop waiting for her regret to heal me. My future did not need her guilt, John's failure, or anyone's approval. It only needed me to keep walking forward on my own terms. The next day, Emma called. Her voice sounded exhausted. The hospital is asking questions. About what? About whether my history with John affected my judgment that night. I closed my eyes. What did you tell them? The truth. A long silence followed. Then Emma whispered, everything is falling apart. I had no answer that could fix it. She came to see me later. Her face looked drained. If I lose my marriage and my career because of one decision, isn't that punishment enough? I looked at her for a long moment. I never asked for your punishment. I asked to matter when it counted. The divorce was almost finished when the hospital called me. We need your statement. I was told. I already knew why. Emma's professional review had begun. For a few minutes, I sat with my phone in my hand and thought about how easy it would be to destroy her. I could make every detail sound worse. I could turn pain into punishment. But that was not who I wanted to become. When I gave my account, I kept my voice steady. She knew I was critical. I said, "Did she understand the risk?" "Yes." "Do you believe she intended to harm you?" "No." "Do you believe her personal history with John affected her decision?" I paused. "Yes." I could have added anger. I could have guessed at motives. I did not. I could only tell you what I saw. I said, "I was bleeding." She knew it. John was also in danger. She chose to operate on him. That was enough. Afterward, James asked, "You could have buried her." "I know." "Why didn't you?" "Because I want the truth, not revenge." That answer surprised even me. The review continued. John gave a statement too, according to what I later learned. He defended Emma. She made a medical decision, he insisted. Nothing more. But Julia refused to let the situation become that simple. She knew both patients were unstable, Julia said, and she knew John personally. That connection mattered. Emma finally stopped fighting the obvious. When I spoke to her later, her voice was tired. I told them everything. Everything. "Yes." "What did you say?" "That I let my past affect my judgment." I closed my eyes. It was the admission I had wanted from the beginning. But hearing it did not make me feel victorious. "I should have said that sooner," she whispered. "Yes." I kept trying to prove I was still a good doctor. You could be good at your job and still make one terrible choice. I know that now. John did not take her honesty well. Emma told me about their final argument. He asked why I threw everything away for him if I never planned to be with him. "What did you say?" I told him saving him wasn't proof we belonged together. I waited. What was it proof of? That I never really faced what happened between us. Her voice cracked. I carried guilt I thought was gone. That night forced it back into the open. And now I know guilt is not love. I said nothing. She continued. "John wanted my choice that night to mean I chose him forever. Didn't you?" "No." Her answer came quickly this time. "I chose badly in one terrible moment. I'm not going to build the rest of my life around that mistake." A few days later, Emma came to see me. She held an envelope. I knew what it was before she opened it. "The papers?" I asked. "Yes." "Signed?" She nodded. My chest tightened anyway. For all the anger, for all the pain, part of me had still expected one last fight. Emma sat across from me. "I could keep asking you to stay." "You could, but that would be about what I want." I looked down at the papers. "And what do you want?" She swallowed. The word hurt. "But wanting you does not give me the right to keep you." She slid the signed divorce papers toward me. My hands did not move at first. Emma picked them up and placed them in my palms. Her fingers trembled against mine. For once, her choice did not ask anything. Then she whispered, "I'm choosing what you need now, even if what you need is a life without me." The divorce became final, without fireworks. Emma signed everything, and I signed what remained. There was no victory speech, no revenge, no moment where I watched her fall apart and felt satisfied. I only felt tired. The hospital review continued, and Emma accepted whatever consequences came from it. She stopped defending the choice that had changed both our lives. John did not get the ending he wanted either. Emma told me. He asked one last time whether they could start over. "What did you say?" I asked. "No." Was he angry? "Yes." And then he finally understood. Understood what? That choosing him that night did not mean I belonged to him. After that, John disappeared from her life. For a while, I thought losing Emma would leave nothing behind. I was wrong. James checked on me almost every day. "You eating?" he asked once. "Mostly." "That sounds suspicious." "I'm fine." "You're healing." "That's different." Ethan kept dragging me outside when I wanted to stay alone. Julia reminded me that surviving the surgery had given me time I almost did not have. Isha reminded me that pain did not have to become my personality. Little by little, I started living again. I learned that survival was not just waking up after surgery. It was waking up after heartbreak and still choosing to move. James had asked what I wanted my life to look like after Emma. Back then, I had no answer. Now I did. I wanted mornings without suspicion. I wanted peace that did not depend on someone choosing me. I wanted to remember the accident without letting it decide relationships that came after it. Ethan told me, that sounds like progress. It feels strange. Strange is better than stuck. Julia laughed when I repeated that. Isha said, keep going. So I did. None of them erased what happened. They reminded me I was more than the worst night of my marriage. Months passed. My body healed before my trust did. Then Emma asked to see me one final time. We met quietly, without lawyers, hospital walls, or anyone else between us. She looked different, not weaker, just honest. I'm sorry, she said. I waited. No excuses this time. Not medicine. Not stress. Not John. Not the accident. I looked at her. I made the choice. I hurt you. I understand that now. For the first time, her apology asked nothing from me. I may always love part of who we were. I said, her eyes filled. But love can't repair the moment my trust died. I know. She wiped one tear away. Do you regret divorcing me so quickly? I thought about that hospital room. I thought about the papers before sunrise. I regret that it became necessary. She held my gaze. But you don't regret doing it. No. We stood in silence as morning light began spreading across the sky. Months earlier, sunrise had found me bleeding, broken, and ended my marriage from a hospital bed. Now it found me standing on my own. Emma looked toward the light. I wish I had chosen differently that night. So do I, but I finally chose myself. Her face tightened, but she nodded. I understood then that neither revenge nor her regret was my reward. John had not won her. I had not destroyed either of them. I had survived. I had told the truth. I had protected what dignity I had left. Most of all, I had refused to spend my life wondering whether I would come second again when everything mattered. I turned toward the morning. This time, walking away did not feel like losing a marriage. It felt like keeping the life I had almost lost. I walked away without turning around.